This next news story comes to us from PC Gamer, written by Joshua Wollens. Aspire makes Star Wars Battlefront Classic Collection statement after crashing to overwhelmingly negative reviews. Says it's working on it, but doesn't apologize or explain why it needs 62.87 gigabyte of your disk space. I love that, like, editorializing
Nuts.
in the
I
title.
can't wait to talk about that. Go ahead.
Man. All right. With the Steam user reviews now comfortably at overwhelmingly negative, it's fair to say that Star Wars Battlefront Classic Collection has been a disaster.
It just came out and said it, huh? Okay.
Yeah.
That's how you feeling?
Players are saying probably one of the worst launches of all time. Within hours of release, the collection has been a black eye for Aspire after months. Well-regarded Tomb Raider remasters. On the wake of it all, the company has released a stunningly brief statement on where it plans to go from here, thanking the Battlefront community for its overwhelming support and feedback for the Classic Collection, which is certainly one way of phrasing it. Aspire,
I was going to say, that's one way you put it.
Yeah, Aspire cops to the fact that it experienced critical errors with our network infrastructure that caused high ping, matchmaking errors, crashes, and servers not appearing in the browser. Yep, that makes sense. Those are all issues that players have been complaining about since the collection dropped yesterday, and I even ran into a couple of them. Matchmaking glitches and crashes myself when I tried to play a bit of Battlefront yesterday. Most intriguing, though, is the claim that servers were not appearing in the browser. One of the most baffling and oft-reported problems with the Battlefront collection was the fact that it apparently launched with just 3 64-player dedicated servers for around 10,000 concurrent players.
Whose idea was that?
Now it seems like Aspire is saying the issue is not in the amount of servers, but their visibility, which was obscured by glitches or the machinations of the Sith. It makes sense.
You making jokes right now?
It's PC Gamer here. I don't know who this writer is.
No, I know.
They're cracking.
That was probably the Battlefront that was saying the machinations, right?
They've cracked a couple of jokes here. This Joshua Wollens.
Oh, okay. I thought that was Aspire making jokes. I was gonna say, are you trying to be funny right now? You have nothing to laugh about right now.
Joshua Wollens from PC Gamers.
Okay.
It makes sense. I dropped into the game not too long after the launch and found far more than 3 dedicated servers in Battlefront 2 and 5 in Battlefront 1, which isn't many, but was enough to cater to the relatively few people playing it. Anyway, Aspire pinky promises it's working on it. We've been This guy is throwing some serious
He's on a roll,
shade.
man. I'm not mad at him.
We've been working to address these issues and increase network stability, and we will continue our efforts until our network infrastructure is stabilized to prevent further outages. All well and good, but maybe a little thin as statements go. The Battlefront games are beloved classics, and thousands of players were there on day one of Aspire's collection to dive back into the glory days of 2005. Their disappointment has been immeasurable, but vocal, and I imagine Aspire's 5-sentence "hey, we're working on it" statement with no time frame and no apology won't do much to placate them. After all, there are still mysteries that Aspire hasn't addressed yet. Plenty of players have complained of audio glitches and bad controller support, for instance, which the company doesn't mention in its statement. My main inquiry is how on earth the collection managed to turn 2 games from the mid-2000s, totaling about 12 gig combined, into a 62.87 gigabyte download. I don't mean to kick the studio while it's down, but that's not a size increase I can see reflected in the game's graphical quality. We'll see how things go, I suppose. I still hope Aspire manages to miraculously pull this one out of the bag. Battlefront games, and the people who bought them deserve better. This Joshua Wollens over at PC Gamer.
A+.
He deserves a round of applause. That was a great article. I usually don't read all the way to the end, and I had to on that one. That was fantastic over there. Because it's true. Like, this game is busted. I don't know if you've seen some of the clips come out. I saw one where it looked like, I was like, oh, is that Lego Star Wars? I'm like, oh no. That's the new classic collection from Star Wars Battlefront. Like, the textures were loading in like the wrong colors. It's like purple and green and white. And I'm like, they look like little like pieces of Lego bricks put together in this world. All the textures were janky. I'm like, what is happening? This is a game from 2005. If you can't make that, like, the bare minimum, they just had to get run an emulator on it, right? Like, the bare minimum. Like, I can already emulate these games if I wanted to, and even with add-ons, like a lot of the emulators have add-ons and what do they call them? Plugins, where I can up-res it myself. And that takes I could do that in 5 minutes. What were they working on that they couldn't even get it to do that? Honestly, I don't know.
I don't understand how this went so wrong. Like, you had the blueprint.
Yeah.
You had the blueprint to just do. Honestly, 100% real talk. They could have just used the same old code, just picked it up and put it back down, and people would have still bought it and played it.
Yeah.
Like, just take the old Steam releases, add the online on the back, attach them to the servers that you were going to get, and call it a day. And people would have been stoked. Also, the original game came out on the original Xbox, and DVDs were only 4.7 gigabytes.
Yeah, they figured it out
fit
there.
on there.
They figured it out there.
So what's the deal?
I don't know.
Why is this 67 gigabytes?
Where is it coming from? Nobody knows. Nobody knows.
Not an asset was remodeled. Not a planet. Nothing. All it was up-res.
Yeah.
Where there's no new textures, no new nothing. So why is this 67 gig? That netcode is not that big. There's no way. Especially when they were running it on original Xbox Live. There's no shot. This is crazy.
Maybe there's a reason that they're having so many network issues is because maybe they've overcomplicated the code. Maybe it's just like it's like all just netcode, and in reality they just need to like type like run server. That's it. Like,
in 2005, that's probably all you needed to do, and they were like, you know what? Good to go.
like Xbox was holding it together with duct tape and chewing gum. It was like, come on.
They honestly were.
Like, what are we doing here? Don't get me wrong. I know I'm gonna have people in the comments being like, "You don't understand how this works." I'm like, "You're right.
You're
right.
Bro,
I don't understand how it works, but I know it worked 10 years ago. It worked 20 years ago. It worked 20 years ago.
I know it worked 20 years ago.
It worked 20 years ago. Why can't it work now?
On a system that was dozens of times less powerful than the ones that we were playing it on today.
Yeah.
With an internet that's much, much, much worse than the ones we have today, and it worked just fine. I've seen videos of people that were shooting at other characters, hitting them with bullets, and they weren't dying because the ping was so bad.
Wild.
Insane.
Sock says, sounds like that guy didn't get a review code. Maybe, but I don't know. Whether he did or not, he has every right to be salty. Like, he's not the only one.
He nailed the situation.
100%. Sock also says it's gigabit netcode. It's different.
Oh, yes, of course.
We're not dealing with like dial-up here. Remember that little dial-up modem you could get for your PS2? Like, this is like, or not. I guess it wasn't dial-up. It was high.
It was broadband.
It was a highest-speed broadband.
It was the very
modem.
beginning of broadband.
I remember buying that thing and sliding that in for the first time and playing some SOCOM. Remember that the Navy SEALs game?
I remember it. I played Battlefront on Xbox though, so I just had to plug it right in there.
Yeah, we had the PS2, bought the broadband modem that slid in the back of the PS2, plugged it in.
I know the one you're talking about. It looks like a hard drive.
And then we could play with 3, because it was up to 4 people co-op with. And you had the headset and everything too, so you could talk to each other. It was wild. Like the first time we did that, we're like, these are real people on the internet?
You're Can you hear me? Yeah, can you hear me? What? Yes,
Blew
dude.
Our mind. Absolutely crazy. Oh man. Yeah, so I don't know. I was stoked about this collection, but now
over the moon.
I'm not gonna get it now. If they ever fix it, clean it up, maybe it ever goes on sale for
they have to
$10.
fix it. They have to clean it up. I was gonna say, and it needs to be on sale for like $14.99.
Yep.
Then I'll pick it up.
Cheap, and then I'll pick it up.
Yep.
Thank you so much for watching that clip from our podcast. Remember, if you want to watch the full episode, link will be in the description below. You can click on that and check it out. We got listener questions. We got more news segments. We got what you playing. We got a lot of fun things. So yeah, more than just the news. There's a lot more to the show that you should go check out. So remember, click that link in the description. Check out that full episode.